Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, class 7th. Today we are going to start our chapter number 11, that is transport in humans. The chapter is transport in humans. How the materials transport or travel in human beings, how the blood is transport and travels in the human beings. So first, in human, things are transported around the human body in the circulatory system. The circulatory system is made up of arteries, veins and capillaries. Blood is pumped through these blood vessels by the heart. Heart is work like a pump. It is a muscle, and its size, you can see its size is your clenched fist. You can measure the size of your heart. You can close your hand, and you can measure that the size of your heart. So inside the heart, it is divided into 4 chambers. The top 2 chambers are known as atria, and the lower 2 chambers are known as ventricles. There are valves inside the heart that stop the flowing of blood into wrong directions because it is a part of the body. So the heart has its own blood supply. This is carried by the coronary artery and coronary vein. From this diagram, you can see this is the outside of the heart, and this is the inside of the heart. You can see there are 4 chambers, this upper chambers and the lower chambers. This artery carries blood to the lungs, and this valve stops blood going back into the heart. Here is a valve, and it stops the blood going back to the heart. And this vein carries blood into the heart from the body. And the right atrium has thin walls. It has thin walls. These valve strings hold the valve flaps in the places, and this valve stops blood going back into the right atrium. And this one carries blood to the body, and this vein carries blood into the heart from the lungs back to the heart. The left atrium has thin walls. This valve stops blood going back into the left atrium. The left ventricle has very thick walls. It pumps blood to the body except the lungs. And the right ventricle has thick walls. It pumps blood to the lung. It doesn't supply blood to the lungs, but the right ventricle supplies blood to the lungs. So you have to keep the difference in your mind. So here are few questions, short questions, one word questions. You have to give their answers. Now come. How things get in and out of the blood. You can see the walls of the smallest blood vessels, they are known as capillaries, are very thin and with the tiny holes in them. A liquid called tissue fluid leaks out. So one page is missing, so we have to read about what the blood is. The topic is that is blood. Blood is a mixture of liquid called plasma with red cells, white cells and platelets floating in it. Blood looks red because there are many more red cells than white cells in it. There are about 5.5 liters of blood in our body. What is the quantity of blood in our body? It is 5.5 liters. So what the plasma is? Plasma is a straw-colored liquid. It is mainly water with substances that are dissolved into it. So what type of substances are? These include digested food from the intestine, carbon dioxide and the urea waste from the cells, and hormones from special glands located around the body. So when blood is left for a while, the cells sink to the bottom of the plasma. So these blood cells got thickened and they sink into the plasma. What the red blood cells? Red blood cells are made in the marrow, that in the marrow of the large bones such as the ribs. They are round with the hollow. Here you can see the hollow on the both of the sides, which increases their surface area. if it is not hollow, the surface area is less. When there is a hole, so the surface area is more, and the chemical through which they are filled is known as hemoglobin. What the job of the red blood cells is? Their job is to carry oxygen from lungs to the cells into the body. Red cells are unusual because they have no nucleus, so they cannot be produced again and again, which means they do not live for more than a few months. Red cells pick up oxygen as blood is pumped through the lungs. Hemoglobin joins with oxygen to make oxyhemoglobin, which is the brighter red color. As it travels around the body, the oxyhemoglobin changes back to hemoglobin, releasing the oxygen to the cells. When the oxygen is released to the cells and after passing through the body, it again changes into the only hemoglobin. With oxygen, the blood is a dull red color before it is pumped back to the lungs to collect more oxygen. So how oxygen is supplied through the red blood cells? When they are filled with the oxygen, then they are bright red colors, and when the oxygen is empty, their color is little darker. And what are the white blood cells and what is their job? White blood cells have a big nucleus and can change their shape. Their job is to protect the body against the diseases. Some white cells eat the microbes that cause diseases. Others make antibodies and antitoxins. Antibodies are chemicals that destroy microorganisms by dissolving them. There are different antibodies for each kind of microorganisms, and antitoxins break down into toxins, into the poisons that microorganisms produce. You can see white cell is squeezing and it has capillary cut open, and it is destroying the bacteria that enter from the outside to the inside parts of the body. What are the platelets? The job of the platelets is to heal the wounds. It is also into the bone marrow. They help to clot the blood and stop bleeding and cuts. It works as that platelets cause tiny fibers to form a net across any wound, and then it stops it makes the blood clots. Then the blood clots become dry, and then they stop bleeding. After a few time, they became in the form of a new skin. Now here are a few questions related to the previous reading. You can give their answers. So how things get in and out of the blood? The walls of the smallest blood vessels, they are known as capillaries, are very thin with tiny holes in them. A liquid called tissue fluid leaks out. The tissue fluid is mainly water, and it forms a continuous link between the water and the blood plasma and the water in the cell cytoplasm. You can see through the diagram. Oxygen and food in the tissue fluid diffuses from the blood into the cells. Waste such as carbon dioxide and the urea diffuses into the opposite directions. What is how the blood circulate? Humans have double circulation. This means that blood passes through the heart twice. As it goes once round the body, it works like this. You can see the first way. The right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs to collect oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. The left side of the heart pumps blood to the rest of the body to supply cells with oxygen and pick up the carbon dioxide and other waste. When blood gets to the body cells, a liquid called tissue fluid passes across the walls of the capillaries. So these substances such as oxygen and carbon dioxide move in both directions through the walls by diffusion. And you can see here the blood vessels. There are three types of blood vessels. They are artery, non-elastic fibers, capillaries, and the veins. So you have to read out the job of arteries, capillaries, and veins as you have done that in previous classes.